Hello, everyone. We're back. It's the Not So Weekly Dose. I am Gráinne Flanagan from I Am Healing.
And I'm Antoinette from Antoinette McQueenie Homeopathy. And it's great to be here again. And we're going to have a bit of a chat today about the new kid on the block, the new medication that everyone's buzzing about. Actually, we're kind of late to the party because this has gone on a while, but we've held back. We were going to talk about this several months ago, but
Yeah,
we've held back.
we were going to do it before Christmas, but we've held back actually to see how this was going to unravel because
Yeah.
it is literally exploded overnight, and I'm sure some of you are already guessing what we're about to talk about. Go for it, Anto.
Well, it's all the weight loss drugs. It's the Ozempics and the Monjaros, and we have been, like I said, really, really aware of them, but not saying anything. And been watching a lot of stuff online, and we've been sending a lot of stuff to each other.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's time to have that chat.
yeah,
And there's so many different things that we could talk about in relation to Ozempic and all of them. Like what's it doing to women, making us self-conscious, all of us self-conscious, making women smaller, literally making women smaller, taking up much less space in the world. We can talk about the health, we can talk about the emotional sides of it, what it's doing for future generations. It's so big. Where do you want to
it,
dive in and start talking about it?
the first thing I would want to say is I already have had clients coming to me for different issues who are on the weight loss drugs. So I just want to caveat that this is, if that's your choice, fine. As a homeopath, I will try my best to support my clients. But maybe this podcast that we're doing is an invitation to think about things, whether you're about to go on them or on them. So again, this isn't me in no way saying I'm not going to treat anyone who's on these. That's not what the message should be from this. But I would urge you to think about what you're doing. And this would be if someone came to me and they were on the oral contraceptive. I have clients who are on the oral contraceptive. I still treat them. Okay. So it's in no way or on any other medications. Do you know, I have clients on blood pressure meds and you know, I will do my utmost, and I know you come from similar, we do our utmost to support, but we do need to know that you're on these medications. And I actually think maybe that's an opening point, Anto. People don't want to even admit that they're on them.
Yeah, yeah. Which is, do you know what this reminds me of? There's very few things that women will not tell us as homeopaths. There's
Yeah,
very few because we talk about a lot and I think we're both very, very good at talking to women and making women feel comfortable. Women are quite reluctant to talk to me about abortions
yes,
still, which is a massive grief. It doesn't matter what way the baby went, it's still a grief. It's a very, very much a taboo subject. And if anyone's listening to this who is a client of either of us and you've had an abortion, please, please, please talk to us about it. So that's what it's that level of secrecy, I think, with
yeah,
Ozempic. Um, and I have clients that are getting thinner and thinner and thinner in front of my eyes every time I see them every 8 weeks, and they are denying it black and blue.
yeah,
And I don't want women to feel like that. Like, what's that doing to us emotionally and energetically?
yeah,
If we're doing something on the sly, like there's a cover up kind of aspect to it.
yeah,
And the other thing is it's causing this massive split. Like we have been split so many times in the last
oh,
several years.
yeah,
We're getting split into smaller and smaller and smaller groups.
yeah,
So now we have the ones with people who are on Ozempic and Monjaro and all of those, and the ones who aren't, and we're all at each other again.
yeah. And that's why I think it's good to start it off saying that's not what we're trying to do here. This is about actually maybe having a deeper discussion about that. I hate seeing that divide, and I
Yeah.
really want my clinic to be a safe place where clients can tell me what's going on. However,
Oh, oh, and the finger came
no,
up as well.
however, when a client tells me they're on Ozempic, I'm not going to give them remedies to negate the side effects. That's just counterintuitive. If
Yeah,
you're having side effects from a medication that are detrimental, one plus one isn't adding up to two here. Do you know what I mean? It's not making sense. So, and I know there's been some wellness practitioners out there jumping on this bandwagon and throwing out supports that they have, that you can take this alongside your weight loss drugs. That's a dangerous road for me, and ethically and morally, again, if I can see someone's medication is having majorly adverse side effects, as a health practitioner, I am going to name that. And I'm going to say, I don't think this is suiting you. And I really think whatever gains you're getting are being outweighed by the impact. So that's the first thing that I will be open and honest with. Now, not everyone is having those side effects, again, because we're all individual. But I know you've seen that as well, Anto. It's like
Oh, yeah.
we can't give you remedies. It's going to be like push me, pull me,
Yeah.
trying to
It's
negate.
ignoring a massive obstacle to health. It would be like me, somebody coming to me who has a marina coil in and it's causing inflammation all over their body, and instead of me saying you really need to get that coil out, me giving remedies to reduce inflammation.
Exactly,
It's
exactly,
pointless because you'd have to do it every single day, and still you might not be able to cover half the problems being caused.
exactly. So that is first, from my perspective. Um, the other thing is that didn't land for me, and we did a talk about menopause and how that had been medicalized, but it just feels like it's a further medicalization of the female body. And again, I'm not saying, I know there are men taking these weight loss drugs, but it does feel like it's coming for women much harder.
Yeah, it is. And we're hearing about, I said it to you, I've had somebody who was trying to get pregnant, was told to go on Ozempic, and somebody who just went to her doctor with kind of general anxiety type things, associated probably with hormonal fluctuations, and was told to go on Ozempic. This is a lifelong drug.
Yeah,
You know, this isn't intended for people to come off. And they're taking very, very high doses. When this is given to diabetics, they're taking tiny doses compared to this. So this is
yeah,
like 120, €150 every single month for the rest of your life.
yeah. Yeah, and that's the interesting thing as well, is that, people say, "Oh, I'm going to take it to lose X weight or whatever," but the evidence that's now starting to be revealed is it's a bit like all the fat loss clubs, the fat clubs. The evidence shows that actually the weight loss doesn't hold, because when you return, so one of the things that really upset me about this was it's not dealing with the underlying emotional and mental causation. It's just not. If you have a weight issue, or if you have an issue with how you look, because some women are being put on this for a stone to lose,
Yeah,
which are 14 pounds, which is not a huge amount of weight. But what is it in your image that is that out of whack, that you're not good in yourself? That you're overeating, that you're not eating right, that you're not eating good foods, whole foods. All of that is just completely bypassed with this magical shot. And then my experience has been with some people on it is the appetite is curbed, but the emotions are no longer being balmed by that food. And so those emotions are whirling now. They're
yeah,
literally, the anxiety isn't being balmed by the tub of ice cream anymore, because they don't want the tub of ice cream. So the anxiety is going, or whatever, the shadow stuff that they haven't dealt with is there waiting. Um, that's not good health.
no.
That's not caring for a person, just to, and the way, you and I talked about this, we could walk into our GPs now and say the right words and walk out with prescriptions. I know I could.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah,
that's not care. In a 5-minute consult, 10-minute consult, that we could walk out with that. Such
yeah.
a life altering drug.
And there are so many people promoting this on social media. And we're mostly seeing the success stories. We're seeing the people who are keeping their protein up because once, this isn't just burning, or people aren't just losing fat, they're losing nutrients from their bones, they're losing
Yeah,
muscle mass. So we're seeing the success stories, the ones who are hitting the gym and they're eating their protein, but that's only a tiny, tiny glimpse into what's actually going on. There are people at home who are vomiting, who have severe constipation, who aren't able to eat anything. They're actually starving. They're
yeah,
in starvation mode because the tiny amounts that they are eating isn't enough to nourish a body and a brain.
yeah. Well,
And
isn't
it's
that
having a knock-on
sorry?
effect on every part of the health, but it's also having a knock-on effect on other women as well. Because our bodies change the whole time. We put on weight, we lose weight, and that's normal, and that's absolutely fine. But if everybody is shrinking around us, even the strongest and the healthiest of us in mind and body are going to have a bit of a wobble as well and go, oh,
Yeah,
maybe I
yeah,
should be a little bit thinner.
yeah.
Maybe this is the way to go.
I mean,
And
you
our
only had to look at the Oscars to see. I mean, it's that thing of the nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. But like I said that to you before the call, one of the women that I saw, and again, I'm not naming any names, but you could see this part of her shoulder, the clavicle, I think it's
yeah,
called. And a nutritionist I actually saw on Instagram talking about it said this should never be visible on women's bodies. We are meant to have fat on our bodies. It's the
yeah.
whole, you know, um, and it was frightening to see how frail she looked. But then other comments, oh, she looks amazing. And I was like, oh my God, she doesn't look amazing. She really
Skeletal
doesn't
is being
look.
glamorized.
Skeletal is being glamorized until it's not. We all
Yeah.
know the person who is being, there's a lot of concern about her because she's gone way skeletal. But it again, I feel like as a woman, I feel they're coming for us. That's
Yeah.
the only way I
Yeah,
can describe this. It feels very attacking on us, almost like,
it does.
and because it's so quietly and covertly being done, and women are reducing like that. It's like you look at odds if so many are now going that way. It's just a bit wrong, just a bit. But then, like for you, Anto, because your speciality is women's health. I mean, what are the effects you're going to start seeing in your practice or are already seeing in your practice?
Well, because I suppose I deal mostly with issues around periods. Periods are stopping completely, and they're such a vital part of our health because it's not just about having a baby, it's about all the great things that comes with ovulation and having a period, like boosting our immunity and our thyroid function, brain health, and all of that. So if that's all taken out of the picture, where are women going to be in 2 years' time? Because your body can't support a healthy menstrual cycle when you're just not getting enough food. So I think we're going to see issues with brain fog. I think we're going to see a lot more thyroid stuff coming in. We're going to see inflammation going through the roof because estrogen is just going to be knocked out of the picture. And I know a lot of people are on HRT as well, so they think and that's the thing, these things are going hand in hand. They're skipping together down this merry little path of perimenopause, Ozempic and HRT. Um, but like when we take nature out of the picture then and try to simulate something that looks like a natural healthy body, that's not going to last for long. So we're going to see a flare up in all of these things, I think. And then you have all the gastro stuff because these drugs are paralyzing the stomach. So
Yeah,
like what are we going to see? Bowel cancers, Crohn's, all that sort of thing.
yeah. Wow.
That's what I think. Now there are already lawsuits against Ozempic because there's
There
been
is
a big flare up in throat cancers and thyroid cancers and blindness.
blindness.
But they're such a big company, they can write that off.
Yeah,
You know, that's
yeah,
a drop in the ocean for them what they'll have to pay out there. So I don't know. I just think people need to be really careful and careful of what message are we getting across to our daughters? I always think about that. What am I saying to my kids, with these unverbalized observations or clues that they're picking up,
yeah,
what
yeah.
what what do they think is okay?
And again, I get it. I can imagine there's some people listening, oh, but I have a really big weight issue. I'm pre-diabetic, da, 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 da. And I get that. But if you don't address the underlying cause that led you to that stage, and there is an underlying cause, whether your GP is naming it or not. There is an underlying cause, whether it's a physical thing because your thyroid is out of whack from being on the pill for years, whether it's emotional eating or actual lack of education around good foods to eat and going to the likes of the fat clubs who, promote quite low fat, high sugar crap in your diet. All of these things are not helping us women and haven't been helping us for decades. That's where I feel the education needs to be. And it's not easy, again, but it's almost like we've gone, okay, it's not easy. We have an epidemic in the world, but here's the quick fix.
Yeah.
Here's the quick fix. The magic shot. It's literally the magic shot. I'm sorry, that doesn't bridge this gap for me at all. And it's at a huge cost.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right, it does feel personal. It does feel like they're coming for women again.
Yeah.
Even though there are some men taking this, but this is, yeah, this is a female problem predominantly, I think, at the
Yeah, I
moment.
think so. I think so. And again, because we will see exactly what you've described, the impact on women's bodies. It's like I remember when I was studying homeopathy and studying fertility, um, women's bodies are like a Porsche or a Lamborghini. We take a lot of extra care. Men's are like a banger. It doesn't take much to get them on the road and functioning. Within a month, if there's motility issues or things like that, they can, within a month through diet and wellness, they can actually do a lot. Women, it's many, 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 many months. So again, it's when we introduce any medicalization into our bodies, it takes so much longer for our bodies to recover from it because of the cycles that we're going through. Men's cycles are 24 hours, ours are not.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it might feel a bit more personal because we know the knock-on effects are huge.
Yeah. And again, like with previous magic shots that came out, we don't know the long-term side effects
Mm,
because this is the first time that people have been taking the drugs in this dosage.
exactly.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to go on about it much longer, but I
No,
think people need to be really, really careful and maybe ask themselves, is there anything else that I can do besides this? Anything? Because it's a
correct.
lot of money. If you were putting 120, 140 into a personal instructor every month, or a nutritionist, or something that's going to help balance
Yeah,
your issues rather than add to them.
yeah,
I mean, that could be
exactly.
great. That it could be a great way to spend that money.
Or your homeopath or somatic treatments or
Yeah,
there's so much more that you could do that the benefits would ripple into so many other areas of your life.
yeah. Because
Um,
that's quite a chunk of money to have to spend on yourself every month. You
yeah,
could do so many different things.
yeah.
Be
Oh,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. I think we'll leave it there. Love to hear your feedback. Drop a comment, let us know what you think, and we will be back soon with another electric topic. Take care.
Okay, bye. Bye bye.